And welcome to another edition of Ducks Nose Sports. Today, very excited. I start my 9-part NFL preview series as today I tackle the AFC East. Should be interesting with one team on top, one consistent team on top, but a few teams on the bottom that are on the Patriots' heels. Okay, we'll start with the bottom of last year. We'll start with the Buffalo Bills. Say the Buffalo Bills have had a tough stretch the last few years. It's probably the biggest understatement in the whole NFL. We're talking about a team that hasn't made the playoffs since, I think, 99. But last year took steps. They took a lot of steps, not in the win column, but in other steps. You know, seems like they're finally putting the pieces together in place to become a really good team. Coach, Maroney, really like that guy, really tough guy, really like the coach. I really think that's the perfect coach for the Buffalo Bills, a good coach that could get them to the playoffs. And I really like E.J. Manuel. Drafted last year, really took some strides last year. At the start of the season was kind of shaky, but just got a little better each week, and that's what you want from a rookie QB. And this draft, I really like their draft pick in Sammy Watkins from Clemson. Really a guy in the outside that E.J. Manuel can just consistently throw to. I think that was a problem last year with Stevie Johnson, just not that consistent threat. I think Sammy Watkins can turn into that consistent threat, and I really like the Buffalo Bills this year. They, in my opinion, they have the QB, as I said, E.J. Manuel, who is not a Tom Brady type, but he's a Russell Wilson type, and you can win a Super Bowl with a Russell Wilson. They got the receiver. O-line's still a question mark. They can run the ball, and their defense. If their defense can play up to snuff, can play the way their defense can, then watch out for the Buffalo Bills in 2014. So I really think the Buffalo Bills could be that dark horse. You know, every year there's this dark horse team comes out of nowhere. Last year was the Chiefs. I really believe this. The Buffalo Bills can be a playoff team this year. I really like the Buffalo Bills, their makeup, their QB, their receivers, their running back. O-line still a question mark, and maybe their defensive backfield still a question mark, but the Buffalo Bills, mark my words, will be a tough team to compete with week in, week out in 2014. Okay, moving on to the Miami Dolphins, who last year proved that they were good, but just not quite good enough. Mike Wallace coming over from Pittsburgh last year was an absolute disaster. Had high hopes last year. Mike Wallace coming in. Really like Mike Wallace. Really a consistent player for Steelers year in, year out. But when he came to Miami, just wasn't a good fit for whatever reason. Just wasn't a good fit with Ryan Tannehill there. And Ryan Tannehill, a guy who, in my opinion, needs to step his game up. You know, is a good quarterback, but he's not a rookie anymore, you know. He still makes those rookie mistakes. And I like Tannehill. I think he is a good QB. I really believe Tannehill can be a consistent quarterback in this league. But for the Miami Dolphins to take the next step, Tannehill has to step up. Mike Wallace needs to prove to the old Mike Wallace. Their defense, who at times went away last year, needs to prove a defense from two years ago. If this can happen, the Miami Dolphins will compete in the AFC East. And, as I said, Ryan Tannehill, if he steps his game up, Mike Wallace comes back, they get a little more from the running game. Not much from the running game last year. I believe the Miami Dolphins can compete in 2014. Okay, moving on to, a very exciting team now. The New York Jets. As this offseason, they spent as bringing guys like Mike Vick, CJ2K, and others. If this team was around in 2008 or 2010, this team would be a Super Bowl, slam dunk Super Bowl contender, but it's 2014. Mike Vick, not the same Mike Vick as old. I don't think he's even the starter. I'll get to that in a minute. CJ2K, let's face it, since he ran for those 2,000 yards, seems like years ago, has not been the same player. You know, maybe he hasn't been focused as much, playing maybe a bad team in Tennessee. Maybe change of scenery will help him. I don't know. I personally think Chris Johnson is done. I just don't see anything from Chris Johnson anymore. I believe his time has come and gone. And, yeah, I don't think Chris Johnson done. And a defense last year was always consistently good defense. They were okay last year. They weren't great. They were just not the same defense since they lost Darrell Revis 2 years ago. But I was just saying about the quarterback. Very interesting storyline in Jets offseason. It's like, who will be the starting QB? In my opinion, you got to go with Geno Smith. He's the future. A guy who was in there last year had his ups and downs. But as rookie QB, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get your ups, you're going to get your downs. But Geno Smith, to me, is still, I think, it can still be a good player in this league. Like I said with E.J. Manuel, can be a Russell Wilson type, a Kaepernick type, a guy who is not going to throw for 5,000 yards. He's not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. He's not going to throw 5,000 yards, but he can just do enough with his legs and his arms to get the job done. And I think you got to go with E.J. Manuel. Michael Vick was one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best QBs in the league for years. But his time has come and gone. You saw it last year in Philly, being benched, losing his job. And you just saw it, man. He just hasn't been consistent since come back with the Eagles at one good year. And after that, since that big deal, hasn't had that consistency. And I think, unfortunately, I'm a huge Mike Vick fan, but it's over for Mike Vick. And you got to go with Geno Smith. But the real question is, can the Jets compete for a playoff spot? I think they can. I think they're a playoff team. I mean, with all the weapons they brought in, if CJ2K, if he can get me like 60% of what he was, maybe even 80, if he get, okay, maybe not 60, maybe give me 75% of what he was with the Tennessee Titans, I think the Jets will be fine. And I really like the New York Jets moving forward. If their defense can get back to what they were, if Geno Smith can take strides, take the next level, the running back, if their running game get back to the way it was, and the receivers just do enough, Stephen Hill and all those guys just do enough, I think the New York Jets are a playoff team in 2014. Okay, now our final team, the most consistent team in my opinion over the years in the NFL, the New England Patriots, who, let's face it, last year had no receivers, their star tight end was hurt, no defense, and they somehow still got to the AFC Championship game, because that just proves all you need is a QB. If you've got a QB and a great coach, that's all you really need, and the New England Patriots got that with Tom Brady, of course, under center. And, of course, Bill Belichick, in my opinion, one of the best coaches of all time. Maybe not the best coach, probably not time to get into it, probably not the best coach of all time, but one of the best coaches of all time. And I think the New England Patriots will be a lot better this year. Look what they did in the offseason. Bring in LaFell from Carolina. It didn't work out in Carolina, but you just can't teach that kind of speed. And if him and Tom Brady can get on the same page, whew, watch out. I really think they're going to be a really consistent team in this league, and a team who proved they can maybe run the ball a little bit last year too. And, of course, one of the best QBs of all time. But let's talk about the defense now. Their defense has not been that good, really, since the mid-2000s, really. But this also, really, like they did, bring in Browner and Darrell Revis. This will really help their defense. I really believe this is maybe the best Bill Belichick defense he's had probably in like 10 years. It seems like he finally has some pieces to work with, and Bill Belichick, of course, cut his teeth with defense. Of course, those great giant defensive teams in the early 90s. You give Bill Belichick a defense, and I believe New England Patriots will be good this year. I really like the Patriots this year. You got Tom Brady, the best player, in my opinion, in the league. You got new receivers. You got a new defense. New England Patriots, if they're going to win 13, maybe 14 games. I mean, this team's going to be, in my opinion, the best team in the AFC. They're going to probably go in the Super Bowl. We'll get to that later. But New England Patriots are the most consistent team over the last number of years, probably since basically 2001, since they won their first Super Bowl. And I like New England Patriots here, and the New England Patriots will be a team to be reckoned with in the NFL this year. All right, so how does it break down? I'm going to give you how I think the AFC East will end up. At the bottom, I got the Miami Dolphins. As I said, Tannehill to me just doesn't get it done if Mike Wallace doesn't return. Like I said, I believe Miami is number 4. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I think they're a dark horse to still make the playoffs, but Buffalo Bills will compete, but they'll finish 3rd in the AFC East. Number 2, I got to go with the Jets. Jets will be better. They will compete with New England. They may even take a game from New England, but they are just not New England. And of course, the New England Patriots will win the AFC East again for probably the 10th billionth time in a row. And that's how I believe the AFC East will be happening this upcoming football season. But stay tuned next time for next Ducks Know Sports NFL preview edition, as I will be previewing the NFC East. The NFC East should be interesting with, always interesting division with the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Redskins, and much, much more. So, till next time, I'm Ducks, and I know sports. Kind of.